From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson, joined by my dear friend on the phone.
The hottest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV. Yours truly, the man of the hour, and the face that runs the place, that has the power. Just Hector Bosa himself, with all the women that he needs, as long as they pay him. So, Jamie, we've had an interesting starting summer so far.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees have their woes. The Mets are doing their thing.
Or at least
We
trying
cry
to.
for the Islanders. We are happy that some people are happy that the Nets lost. I'm not. So the question is, the Jets and the Giants, Lord knows if we'll be able to talk about them, but let's start with the Islanders.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbreaking story, heartbreaking ending, but it had to come to an end eventually, and hockey is a very low-scoring game. Take it away.
Well, there was a little bit of controversy in regards to the game-winning goal of that game against Tampa, because if you see the replay, Tampa had 7 players on the ice. So when you think about it, they should have been called for too many men on the ice, but no penalty was called. So Tampa got away with murder, if you ask me. But you're right; it was a disappointing loss, considering the fact that the Isles already made their run to the semifinals last year, and you can make the argument that maybe this year they were primed to make a run at the Cup. But once again, they get to the Cup semifinals. This time they extended to a 7th game, but unfortunately it just was not meant to be.
Well, all I can say is, again, was this a team that was supposed to make it? That's one. Was this a team that was bound to go all the way, or is this one of those teams where we were just rebuilding and I'm just glad we went all the way? Was it?
I think this team was primed to win a cup this year. There wasn't really that much rebuilding to be done. And when you think about some of the players on that team, like Matthew Barzal and Cal Clutterbuck, also Josh Bailey, 3 guys who've been part of the process for quite a few years now. The Islanders were all set and ready to go to make that run for the Cup this year. But now that the season is over, my guess is the Isles are going to try and get themselves a sniper who could really take them to that next level.
Well, the first thing is, do they have the cap space? If not, do they have people that they can trade for? And also, last but not least, which is, at least they have the advantage because people will want to play for them. Because they've won. They've shown that they've grown. That people will go and say, you know what, I want to play for the Islanders. So are there any people out there in the free agency department, which still hasn't finished yet because we're still playing hockey, but right now, is there anybody out there that they can, for free agency, that they can get that you know of so far?
Now, as far as the Cup is, well, as far as the salary cap is concerned,
yes,
that's a really good question. I'm not sure how much cap space that they have.
Because remember, that's the first thing you got to go by. Always the cap space. Do they have the money to get the guy unless some other guy goes, you know what? I'll extend my contract, but you know, that way you can get this guy. But you know, we'll do this if you do that. I'll wash your hand. You wash mine, like Barry Bonds.
Oh boy, Barry
Who is
Bonds.
still getting paid for? Or was it his last year that he got paid? Well, he's still getting paid for playing with the Mets. Which one was it?
You mean Bobby Bonilla?
Yeah, Bobby Bonilla, Bobby Bo.
Those payments don't end until 2035.
That's wonderful. At least he gets a steady paycheck. Give him credit. Give him credit where credit is due. He gets a steady paycheck.
Yep.
Give him credit where credit is due. He gets a steady paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Through and through. You know?
Yeah. Now, as far as the Isle situation is concerned, I'm not really sure how much cap space they have going for them. They've got 17 players that are that wore the Islander uniform this year. 11 of them actually played in the playoffs.
Wow. So, do they have money to spare, you think, or no?
Quite possibly, because they've got 6 unrestricted free agents coming up. 2 of which are the ex-Devils, Kyle Palmieri and Travis Zajac. So it's gonna be interesting because Palmieri was the Islanders' leading scorer during the playoffs, and he played really well. So it's gonna be interesting to see whether they want to tender him a deal or not.
What do you think?
My guess is they'll probably give him a 1 or 2 year deal, and probably put him on the same line as Matthew Barzal.
Really?
In all likelihood, yeah.
That's a good observation. So, who's out there in the free agency world that they can get as a sniper?
Let me find that out right now.
And while you're doing that, please reply when you put on Facebook and Twitter and all the other accounts that Mr. Hixson and I put in the show. Please reply if you like it or not, or give us your comments. We would love to hear your comments about if we're right or wrong, even though I'm right 99% of the time.
Oh, brother.
But, you know, especially women. Women can leave their messages on there or their phone numbers to me. That'll be fine. But all in all, we'd like to hear from you guys just to see what's going on. How's that for a plug?
Sounds fine to me.
Hey, yeah.
As far as who they can get,
too.
believe it or not, Alex
birthday.
Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals is still out there, but I doubt that he's going to go anywhere because he's spent more than a decade wearing the Capitals uniform, and my guess is he's going to be re-signing with them pretty soon. Taylor Hall, maybe? David Krejci? Derek Stepan, the ex-Ranger? David Bax, who's from the Anaheim Angels? Brandon Dubinsky, the ex-Ranger. Mark Stahl, another ex-Ranger. Maybe Ryan Murray. Maybe David Savard. Maybe Adam Larson. So those are just names that I'm raffling off just for the sake of it. Eric Stahl, maybe.
What are the chances of them getting them without having to pay too much for them? That's another thing you got to consider as well. Do they have the salary cap to be able to pay these guys?
I would like to think that the Islanders can make a more than fair offer to any particular free agent, specifically one that can really help them out defensively, one who can really help them out on the power play, one who can really help them out on the penalty kill, and one who can really help them out on the front line.
And do they have any free agents coming off their books?
They have 6 restricted free agents. They've got 6 restricted free agents that may or may not be coming off their books, which means if somebody else signs them, the Islanders have to decide whether they want to bring them back or not.
So they have an option in their contract.
Mm-hmm.
They have to match the salary.
Exactly right.
Who's leaving, do you know?
Let's see. Josh Bailey is one guy who's being considered. My guess is they're definitely going to be bringing him back next year because he's played well with the team. Anthony Beauvillier is definitely one of them. There's 3 guys that are up for arbitration. And yes, they do have arbitration in hockey, just like in baseball.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure they do. And sometimes they have to have it because, you know, they want to get paid, but, you know, you have all these other people saying, if the player says, we need this amount of money, and then they go, but you're worth this amount of money because of what you've done. And then there's an arbitrator that goes, okay, you know what, let's meet in the middle somewhere. Or a lot of time, I don't know if most of the time the winners, the players get what they want. I'm not sure what the number is on who gets what sometimes and who has won most of their arbitrations. Has it been the owners or the players?
For the most part, it's the owners.
I can see why. Yeah, but again, if it was the baseball union, because I think the hardest union is the baseball union.
Mm-hmm.
That's the toughest one. And then there's no comparison. The football union is not that good, even though they protect old-time players, which is good for now. You know, they added that provision.
Right.
But what I remember, but if I'm wrong, please check and let us know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that the Islanders have an upside, and let's see, was it meant to be for them to win, or was it just because they've gone twice to the playoffs?
They've gone twice to the Cup semifinals.
Right.
And each time they lost to Tampa.
So is it one of those things where they may have to change their coach, because that's what normally happens when they see that a coach can't get over the hump?
It's definitely not the coach. Barry Trotz has done a terrific job with that team. I just think that the Islanders ran into a better team in the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Well, like I said, we'll see what happens after the playoffs, and hopefully we'll see what happens when the day where will they get their sharpshooter, and what happens to them when it comes to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And their draft. How many draft choices do they have this year as well?
Yeah. I know they have one first-round pick. Other than that, everything else is gravy.
Yeah.
Since we're on the subject of hockey, I want to let you know that the Stanley Cup Finals officially begin tonight. It will be Tampa going up against Montreal. The entire city of Montreal is doing cartwheels as their franchise, an Original Six franchise, one of the oldest franchises in the NHL, is going to be going for an NHL record 24th championship.
Wow, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing statistics. That's how many times they've gone for it, or that's how many times they've won?
That's how many times they've won. They've won 23 titles. They're right up there with the Yankees as far as excellence in professional sports.
And does everybody hate Montreal too?
Oh, yeah. The Toronto Maple Leafs hate them. The Boston Bruins hate them. The Rangers hate them. That's for damn sure.
What makes them so good?
What makes them so good? The fact that they've had terrific players in the past.
The GM, though, has it been the GM that they've made the right moves to get people?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that they know how to draft people, or
Mm-hmm.
they know how to draft?
They know how to draft. They know how to scout. They know how to find free agent players that they can take off the scrap heap and put them in a particular role that can make them excel. They're well coached. They're athletic. They've got terrific goaltending in Carey Price. And it's been Carey Price who's been leading the way for the Canadiens this entire time.
Well, I that's something to see, That's something to see. The evil empire.
Yep.
Canada's team,
NHL's version of the evil empire is the Canadiens.
Yeah. That's funny, though. But today's the first game, or it's the last game?
The first game is tonight.
And it's Tampa Bay versus
Montreal.
And on paper, who do you think's going to win, or just in general, who do you think's going to win?
I think the Canadiens have the better goaltender, but I think the Lightning have more scoring punch. I mean, they've got it all with Tyler Johnson and Vincent LeCavalier and so many others. Steven Stamkos as well. Andre Palat as well. So my pick is going to be the Lightning, and I'll give them 6 games.
All right, then we'll see what happens. It's the best out of 7, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good call. Give them 6 games. So yeah, that means Tampa wins 2.
Yep.
Yeah, Tampa wins 2. Canadians take 4. And again, it's one of the top 4 sports that we see in the league. And also, I was just wondering, going to another tip, we were talking about how the New York, besides that, how will the Rangers and the Devils fall this year when it comes to drafting, and who do you think they may get, and what are their stories, if any?
Well, in case you didn't know, the Rangers got themselves a new head coach. It's Gerard Gallant, who was the first head coach in the history of the Vegas Golden Knights and wound up leading them to a Stanley Cup final. So now Gallant has taken over the reins of the Rangers.
As GM, as a coach, but they don't have a GM yet.
Actually, Chris Drury is their general manager.
What do you think of those picks?
Honestly, getting Gallant was a good move because he's got championship experience, he's got playoff experience. Plus, getting Chris Drury, it was basically a promotion for him because he was the assistant to the previous guy who had been the general manager, which was John Davidson. So when you think about it, it was practically it was
a good fit.
Yeah, it was. I would say it was practically a good fit.
But the thing is, since he's learned from John Davidson, wouldn't you think that he would do the same thing as John Davidson? There's not much he can do. Or does the team have to break down in order? Is it a good fit for the coach, the team that he has? Or do they have to go, you know what, we have to let some of these guys go to either rebuild from scratch or
keep in mind, this was a Chris Drury move in getting Gerard Gallant. So I think Drury wound up getting the guy who he's able to mesh with.
But is this coach right for this team? Because remember, not all coaches are right for this team. And, every time they get a new coach, a lot of times it's more of a rebuilding stage that they'll go, you know what, this doesn't fit me. That the team doesn't fit the coach. The coach got to get his type of players in order to run his system and so on. So is that the route they're going to go with, or
that's the guy they're going to go with?
He's just going to have to blend in and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, you've known how many coaches have gone in there, and a lot of times they don't coach the same team. They do make trades in between. They'll get rid of people to fit his system.
Right.
But that's the way it goes a lot of times. I mean, when I can say in basketball, I think the Knicks have been the worst when it comes to coaches.
Oh, forget about it. They have zero clue historically as far as finding the right guy is concerned. Unless his name is
Riley.
Unless his name is Pat Riley or Red Auerbach or John Lapchick
or Jeff Van
Gundy.
Do you put David Stale in there? Because he did go to the playoffs.
No. He only lasted barely a year.
He got you there in a year and a half. He lasted 2 years, didn't he?
Not even 2 years.
Still got to the playoffs. And then you had the winningest coach, the second or third winningest coach. And they got rid of him within a year or year and a half.
Yeah,
That's
but
the guy
keep in mind, when David Fisdale was there, the Knicks didn't win no more than 17 games one year.
That's true, but they did make the playoffs with him. Even though they didn't go far, but they did make the playoffs. And with the other guys, they went further than just making the playoffs. They went actually second round, third round, somewhere around there. You know, they did go past what they had to achieve. But, again, barely do you hear the Knicks go, oh, we've gone to the promised land since 1970.
Or 73.
You know. So that's what you have to deal with. But, you know, I think who's in baseball, who's got a revolving door? The Yankees? Did they have it?
The Yankees were notorious for having a revolving door, especially with their managers.
Well, when it comes to George and Billy Martin, they wanted to bring back Billy. He came back, 3 times? And then they were going to bring him back again.
5 times.
And they want to bring him back again until he got into that car accident.
Yeah.
It would have been 6. That's a damn shame. Now, that's got to be a record, too. Bringing back the same coach to a team. That doesn't happen much, does it?
No, it doesn't.
But speaking of Yankees, how dreadful and woeful are they, even though they did play a good team?
They were dreadful and woeful against the Red Sox, that's for damn sure. They couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. They couldn't move runners over. They had major problems against the Red Sox pitching, and right now that's what's been spurring the Red Sox to being this close to the division lead is their pitching and also the batting order that they have, which has Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts and J.D. Martinez. 3 guys who could really provide a lot of pop for them in that lineup. But this past weekend, the Yankees looked like they were not even in the Red Sox league. And the Yankees, you know, are winless in 6 meetings with the Red Sox this year. And they still have to play them again another 12 or 13 times.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll be better. What's happening to them?
What's happening to the Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, let's see. They're not hitting. And because they're not hitting, they're not scoring runs. And because they're not scoring runs, it's putting more pressure on the pitching staff. Not just the starters, but the relievers.
Well, that's a given that you're going to put pressure on their pitching staff because you want to ink out a 1-run lead when you have a chance. And since you want to win badly, they'll start bringing in the starting pitchers as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Or should I say the relievers as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And
they're not scoring runs because, for one, they're not moving runners over, and for another, they're not running the bases. They don't have any athletes. That's the problem with them. They have no athletes whatsoever that could steal a base or 2 in an inning. And they also don't play situational baseball either. They don't move runners over. They don't do the sacrifice fly. They don't bunt. It's gotten to the point where they're unwatchable now.
But the majority of that team is not built for bunting. If you notice, the majority of that team, they're built for hitting, not for bunting. If you're going to ask Guillermo Stanton...
You mean Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, and Sanchez, and then the guys behind him, the bunt. The only one that I can see bunting is LeMahieu when he's there and 1-2 other people. But other than that, do you really think that team is built for bunting?
You know, you can turn a particular hitter into a bunter. They just need to find the time to learn the nuances of it.
Well, like I said, very few times, even though he did do it, which is Reggie Jackson, he did bunt once or twice in his time.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that frustrated me was when they did this stupid shift on him. Let's say Dave Kingman, for those people that remember Dave Kingman.
I remember him.
And, you know, you wanted this boy just to bunt it so that he could get a base hit. If he would have bunted it properly, he would have gotten a base hit all the time. But he wasn't built for bunting. And Jason Giambi was another one, if you think about it. They used to do the shift on him, too. How did he hit the damn ball and get a pretty good average was beyond me, but he did hit. He found a way to get the ball in through the hole.
Well,
but there aren't, once you're a power hitter, that's it. They just want you to hit. You get paid to hit, you built to hit, and that's it. You don't bunt. Because a lot of people would be surprising if you bunt, and God forbid they bunt wrong.
mm-hmm.
The people will be going and yelling and screaming, why is this guy bunting? He's the power hitter. But it makes sense. Think about it, If the guy's not hitting, the thought of that is that eventually if he touches the ball, once he starts hitting, you'll know. And the other thing is that if a guy starts to foul ball the ball a lot of times, that's another thing that they'll do, and they'll go, he's making contact, he's getting through by, eventually he'll get his hit on because he's hitting foul balls. That means he's trying to make contact, and he'll get there eventually, too.
Right.
But it's weird because then you have to, do you blame the hitting coach and then fire him? Do you, again, fire Aaron Boone? And
it's funny because I was listening to Sweeney Murdy from WFAN yesterday after the game.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many times he's heard, fire the manager, fire the general manager. Well, the one thing that he's heard from the Yankees is that neither guy is on the chopping block. They're not going anywhere.
Well, they have a proven track record. That's the thing. Well, at least Cashman does.
Cashman's got the track record, yeah.
But, what was it? It's been 4 years ago since they've gone to the World Series and 5 years ago since they won.
Try 12 years since their last World Championship.
But they've made the playoffs, but they haven't gotten past the championships, the finals.
No.
When was the last time they did that?
Last time they went to the World Series, 2009.
What do you think in this whole situation? Because you can't break up the team because a lot of them have hefty contracts.
Well, there's no breaking up the team whatsoever because there are guys right now in that batting order that are just not attractive enough to other teams that would want to consummate a deal for them.
Well, again, they do have it, but the thing is, would you trade, let's say, an Aaron Judge would you trade a Gary Sanchez? Would somebody want to pick up, John Carlos Stanton's contract? Is he worth it? And the answer is no. Nobody wants John Carlos Stanton's contract.
No.
People would want to trade for Judge, even though he's hitting terribly right now.
Actually, he's not doing that bad. His average is around the 280s.
But these are guys that's supposed to be hitting 300 and getting yourself a lot of RBIs and so on. Not just, again, he's supposed to be the elite to the elite. He's supposed to be your power hitter. Gary Sanchez, you can get something for him, but, he's not at his peak yet where you can go and say, well, he's one of the best hitting catchers in the league, but then he's not doing so well, and he's injured prone, just like Aaron Judge. Sometimes people need a different spot to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what could be happening too. But what do you think of all this? What do you think they should fire Aaron Boone, the batting coach? What do you think?
Firing Aaron Boone is not the answer. I mean, if anything, he's done all he can with this team. And firing the hitting coach is not going to solve matters either. I mean, Marcus Timms has done all he can with that team.
But a lot of
this team's going to have to try and figure it out for themselves.
But a lot of times what they do is they fire someone because it shakes up the team. And even though the guy, let's say you bring in another coach, he's preaching the same word, but he's doing it in a different fashion that they'll listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have Aaron Boone who's been there for, 4 years already?
This is his 4th year.
4th year. Are they tired of him speaking? Maybe he lost the team. Maybe he doesn't. You never know. But
I don't think he's lost the team, to be honest with you.
But, the fans out there want some type of change to see if something will shake these guys up. What does it take to move these guys to do something right, to get back on the winning track? What's it going to take? A lot of people say fire the coach. Fire the hitting coach because he's not teaching them how to hit. But if they've been in the league for so damn long, how can you teach a guy how to hit unless he's seeing certain things that he could, twitch it a little bit? But that's like saying to one guy, you batted this stance for so long, try this stance. And then when he tries it, he's worse than what he had before. Because I've seen players that have changed batting stances. And it turns out okay in the beginning. At first they don't do well, but then towards the middle they do fine, and then towards the end they sink again. But, hey, that's what happened. I mean, what do you think should happen?
Well, one thing that should happen is for them to get a center fielder, an everyday center fielder, because, sorry, but Brett Gardner's days are way behind him. He's past his prime right now.
What's he doing so wrong that he can't patrol center field?
He can patrol center field. He just can't hit. I mean, his average is under the Mendoza line right now.
But if Malta is the majority of the team hitting?
Aaron Judge is hitting. DJ LeMahieu is, pedestrian, if you ask me.
Well,
Giancarlo Stanton, he's been in and out of a funk, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Luke Voigt just got back from the disabled list, well, the injured list now. So he still has to get his legs underneath him. Gleyber Torres, let's face facts. he's got a lot of work to do playing shortstop. And he has slumped so badly right now that it's made a lot of people outcry for him to be moved. But exactly where do you go with him, and what do you get back for him? You can't get much for him, especially in his state right now. Gio Urshela is one of the few guys that's shown some consistency. Aaron Judge, he looks like he's starting to get his hitting stroke back. Oh, as far as the catching situation, I don't know about you, but something's wrong with Gary Sanchez. I mean, is it that he suddenly forgot to hit? I mean, exactly what is his deal? At least his defense behind the plate has improved a little bit, but he really has to start learning how to hit in clutch situations. And for the people that wanted Kyle Higashioka to be the everyday catcher in Sanchez's place, that didn't go so well either.
No, you're right about that. You're absolutely right. That you wanted this guy to be everyday catcher because Sanchez is one of those people that he can't catch the majority of the time. And can he call a game? That's a whole different ball game too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but how about the Mets? Talk about the Mets and see how they're doing.
Well, it seems like the Mets lately have been settling. I mean, they settled for splitting 4 games with the Braves and splitting 4 games with the Phillies over the weekend. They've had major problems with the Washington Nationals, including tonight. The Mets are playing the Nationals right now, and the Nationals have used the long ball to take a 3-0 lead. Oh, going back to the Yankees for a bit, the Yankees are playing the Angels. And when you think of the Angels, you think of 2 people, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, the star pitcher and slugger. Well, guess what? Shohei Ohtani hit one of the hardest home runs into the seats that it went so far as, let me see if I could get the tracker for this thing. 117.2 miles an hour. That's how quickly Ohtani's home run went into the seats.
That's how fast it went.
That's how fast it went.
Damn. That's a damn
I'm telling
rocket.
you, this kid is a mega star.
Oh, the kid that they brought up?
The kid that they brought up from Japan.
Yeah.
And right now, the Angels lead the Yankees 2-1 in the 2nd inning.
Well, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens with the Mets. And let's see what happens with the Yankees. Speaking of which, the Yankees and the Mets are squaring off against each other this weekend in the Bronx. So somebody is going to right the ship against somebody in that series in the Bronx next weekend.
You said somebody's going to ride the ship?
Somebody's going to right the ship. You there, Hector?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was just wondering, you're saying somebody's got to have to ride that ship, or they riding the ship?
Somebody has to right, R-I-G-H-T, the ship.
Oh, right the ship. Why would you say that?
Because with the problems that both teams have, and yes, the Mets are not without their problems. They got a whole bunch of injuries, especially to their pitching staff and to their batting order. It could take a slice of home cooking against an inner city rival to try and make things right again. Who knows? Maybe it'll catapult them to a long winning streak. Who knows?
Well, all I know is that nobody, when it comes to the Mets and the Yankees, that is the toughest series to be in.
Yeah.
Because nobody in their rightful minds want their team to lose, especially against your rival team.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the Cubs trying to beat the White Sox.
You know what's really unique about the Mets situation is that they're in first place in the division.
With their record, yeah, I could see it.
40-33 record, and I just saw that Gio Urshela hit a home run, so the Yankees just tied the Angels at 2.
Yeah, because we're talking about them. That's why we're talking about how useless the Yankees are. Right.
Meanwhile, the Yankees are 6.5 games out of first place and 3 games over 500.
Now, it's not like they can't come back and win now. It's not that they're that far off, that they can't win something for you. At this point in time, they're not the greatest team in the world. But
this is not a good team whatsoever.
The Yankees don't have a good team this year?
This is not a good team at all.
I'm surprised because this is a team they rolled with last year. So
it was practically the same exact team that they had last year, and look what happened. All it got them was an elimination in the division series.
Yeah, you're right. But hey, like I said before, last year, like I said, this is the team that they went with last year, and it's a hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hit or miss. It's one of those things where it's a hit or miss, and you just have to accept certain things that the team that you have is a good team. They're just not doing it right now. Now, is the Yankees one of those teams where you can say they're a good team, but they're just not doing it? Or is this a team where you can say, oh, they're so bad that you can't do nothing with it? They really have to do something.
Let me put it this way. At least they're not the Orioles.
Okay.
The Orioles are without hope of any kind. The Yankees, it's not like they've got a single-A ball club right now. I mean, the players that they have, they are good. But collectively, they're just not playing well. Don't you agree? Hector?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering something. Because what's a big disappointment now? The Nets not going all like I've asked you this before, but now that you've seen it happen, is the bigger disappointment that the Nets lost and didn't go all the way, or is it was it the Knicks disappointment that they ran out on the first they went to the playoffs, but
they got their butts stomped in the first round?
Yeah, well, not stomped, but
they got their butts stomped, buddy.
The
Hawks
okay,
beat them from one end of the court to the other.
Well, I could. You know what I seen though, and it's funny. and not to defend them because they played horribly, but Julius Randle played as if he forgot how to play. Most of those people forgot how to play basketball.
And what happened? Trae Young turned into a star in that series.
And that was a guy that people wanted to get rid of.
To think.
And,
he could have been a Dallas Maverick still. And Luka Doncic could have been an Atlanta Hawk. But you know what? The Hawks did the right thing trading for Trae Young.
And I tell you, the way it looks now, since I sent you all those reports on the New York Knicks because you don't get them, Luka Doncic wants to come to New York Knicks. Maybe.
I don't know if he wants to make his way to New York to be a Knick.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, he does.
No, that's not a guarantee.
He's one of those players that he plays better against.
He didn't say it of his own volition. All I know is that he's having a little bit of a conflict with management.
Well,
because of Donnie Nelson, because of Donnie Nelson resigning, and also because of Rick Carlisle leaving.
Yeah, because was it the GM that was underneath? Somebody was supposed to be doing the polling, and Don Nelson didn't have control, according to one source that I read, and that I forgot, was it the owner that got into it, or someone got into it with Don Nelson because Don Nelson wanted to make one move and they stopped him on it, and that was something, you know. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
But the bigger disappointment the Nets not making it or the Knicks not making it?
The Nets losing is the more colossal disappointment because they were built to win a championship now. But the problem was their health, their poor health, wound up getting in the way of good basketball.
Again, he lost James Harden for 2 days, for 2 games, right?
Yeah.
Because of his hamstring. Then you lost Kyrie Irving. But Kevin Durant carried the team, and Blake Griffin in the center. Well, the center didn't do much either, but
the center did nothing.
Blake Griffin did a good job. I forgot his name, the center.
DeAndre Jordan. He barely played.
Isn't he a forward though?
No, he's a center because he's 7 feet tall.
Oh well, we've seen Kristaps Porzingis played forward too. Mm-hmm. He looks more like a forward than a center. He shoots like a forward, like Chris Nowinski. Nowinski was
you mean
another
Dirk
one.
Nowitzki?
Dirk Nowitzki was another one that I don't think when he came to jump ball, he didn't jump for it. He played center, but he didn't jump for it. But so Luka Doncic may want to come to the New York Knicks.
That's not a guarantee. I keep telling you.
No, not a guarantee. I said may. But
I didn't hear anything out of his mouth that said that he wanted to be a Knick.
No. But that's like Lonzo Ball, his father, Lonzo Ball, going that he wants to see his son play for the New York Knicks, and that he wants both of the Ball boys to play for the New York Knicks. Now that'd be something. But what do you think of them getting Lonzo? First of all, out of all the Damon Lillard, CP3, those would be the top guys.
Well, my personal choice for the point guard of the Knicks should be Kyle Lowry. I think Lowry is the more complete player, whereas Lonzo Ball is a little bit one-dimensional. He's a pass-first point guard, which is good, but you also want your point guard to score the ball. You want him to be like Chris Paul.
But here's the thing. If, he's built more for a team that's ready to go to the championship. Because he's, 34 years old?
Yep. And Kyle Lowry has already won a championship.
Right. He's built for a team that's ready to win the championship now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like I said, the Knicks are still, their core is between now 21 to 24 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the majority of the team. So, no, they're 20 to 24, let's say. That's the bulk of the team. Where Julius Randle, I think, is 28, somewhere around there, I think.
Yeah.
And Noel is still 20-something, so, yeah, he fits in. But, I think as much as you would like to get him, you don't give the whole house to him, first and foremost.
You don't need to give the whole house to him.
And secondly, who do you give up for him? And third, I don't want him to be the first choice because, like I said, he's built to win now. And I don't know, with him being there and the Knicks having the players that they have now, are they built to win the championship? I don't think so.
They are nowhere near championship
even
contention.
If they brought him in, I don't think they would be ready to take the championship. I don't think so. To go to make a run in the playoffs, yeah. To go all the way, no. I don't think so. At this point in time, I don't think so, depending upon who they get. But I say my pick would be someone that's a young guy like Lonzo Ball, somewhere in his early to mid-20s. Let him grow with the team. Just let him grow with the team and hope for the best that he'll pan out. Because, again, CP3, yeah, you may get him for 3 years, but unless you get another guy, that I don't think they're going to make the team. Unless, you get someone, let's say with CP3's name on it, or the guy that you just mentioned, which I forgot his name.
Kyle Lowry.
Or Damon Lillard. That's a name that's being thrown around like crazy. Damon Lillard, too.
Yeah. To be quite honest with you, I think that's just a pipe dream. Damian Lillard's not going anywhere. Besides, he's got himself a new head coach, Chauncey Billups, who I think he can work very well with if given the chance.
Yeah, but you didn't hear what happened. He wanted Doc Rivers to get... not Doc Rivers.
He wanted Jason Kidd.
Yeah, Jason Kidd. And
Jason Kidd wound up taking the Dallas job.
Huh?
Jason Kidd took the Dallas job.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did.
Oh, wow. Well, then you may see Damon Lillard go over there then.
And by the way, Rick Carlisle wound up taking the Indiana job.
Oh, here's the thing. When your player says when your best player says he wants a coach, unless that other coach can convince him, no, God, look, we're going to do right. Just give me 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see that I'm going south in the mid-season, you let me know.
Right.
But when people are just strong-headed people that when they want certain people, that's it. They want to trade because I've been hearing that this man wants to trade. He wants to get the heck out of there because he didn't want Chauncey Billups. As good as he is, but he doesn't want Chauncey Billups.
It'd be foolish of him to do so. Anyway, we got 10 seconds. Hector, thank you. 2 episodes left till number 700, folks. Good night, everyone.
Champagne for all.